Imagine praying with all your heart and hearing nothing. No answer, no vision, no sign, just silence. Now imagine that silence lasting not for a day, not for a month, not for a year, but for 400 years. This is the story of the day heaven went silent. 4 generations, God had spoken to his people. He spoke to Abraham and called him out of the familiar. He spoke to Moses from a burning bush and delivered a nation from slavery. He spoke through prophets, kings, dreams, and visions. His voice guided Israel through victories and defeats. His presence was undeniable. Then came the prophet Malachi. He delivered God's message. He spoke of a coming messenger. He reminded the people of God's promises. And then, the scroll was closed. The prophet's voice faded, and heaven became silent. Days turned into months.
Remember his promises,
Months became
child.
years.
They are our
Years
hope.
became decades.
Heavens declare
Decades
his
became
glory.
centuries.
Yet my heart is uncertain.
Children were born, grew old, and died without hearing a prophet. Entire generations waited for God to speak again. The people prayed. They searched the scriptures. They remembered the stories of old. But the heavens remained silent. No new revelation. No prophetic voice. No divine announcement. Many began to wonder if God had forgotten them. Had he abandoned his covenant? Had he turned away from his people? The silence was overwhelming. Empires rose and fell. The Persians ruled. The Greeks conquered. The Romans expanded their power across the known world. History continued moving forward, but heaven remained quiet, or so it seemed, because while the earth experienced silence, heaven was at work. God had not forgotten his people. He had not abandoned his promises. Behind the scenes, he was preparing the world for a moment that would change history forever. Roads were being built between nations. Languages were becoming common across regions. Kingdoms were unknowingly positioning themselves for the fulfillment of prophecy. The silence was not God's absence. The silence was his preparation. Because sometimes God does his greatest work where human eyes cannot see. Then, on an ordinary night in a small town called Bethlehem, everything changed. Shepherds watched over their flocks beneath a quiet sky. The world slept, unaware that history was about to turn a page. Suddenly, a brilliant light pierced the darkness. The heavens opened. Angels filled the sky. And after 400 years of silence, heaven spoke again. Not through a prophet, not through a king, not through a vision, but through a child. A baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. Jesus Christ, the promised Messiah, the Savior of the world. The Word made flesh. The silence had ended. And perhaps that's the lesson hidden within this story. Maybe you're in a season where heaven feels silent. Maybe you've prayed and heard no answer. Maybe you've waited and seen no sign. Maybe you've wondered if God remembers you. But silence does not mean abandonment. Silence does not mean rejection. Silence does not mean God is absent. The same God who worked during 400 years of silence is still working today. While people saw nothing, he was arranging everything. While people questioned, he was preparing. While people waited, he was fulfilling his promise. And if God could turn 400 years of silence into the arrival of a Savior, then he can turn your waiting season into something greater than you ever imagined. Because when God seems silent, he is often preparing his greatest work. The day heaven went silent was never the end of the story. It was the beginning of the greatest story ever told. Silence is not God's absence. It may be his preparation.
I hope you enjoyed the video you just watched. Kindly subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts in the comments.